Hi, Kylie here, and welcome to my plan with me for July 2026. So, this month is late. It's not late. I actually drew it up in June. I just had a really crazy start to the beginning of July. I was going to do forests, as I mentioned last time, but I decided it's my birthday month. I'll do what I normally do, which is celebration. So that's what we have. And I'm trying something different this month. This is what the title page is going to look like. Let me know whether you like me showing it to you beforehand or whether you enjoy discovering it along the way. So July, it is my birthday month, so I often do celebration, and I had, when I was planning, decided, no, I'm not going to do that this year. And then I think I just have to give the concept of forest away because I am not inspired to do it, so it's probably just going to fall off to the wayside. While I draw all of the celebration birthday things like cakes and presents and balloons and all the other bits and pieces. So we're in July. We've crossed over the halfway point of the year. It's crazy to think that we are this far through, but this is where we are. And I hope that you're sort of all prepared and braced for the final part of 2026. I hope that you had a nice June. I had a nice time. I had a fairly peaceful month. I say with all the confidence in the world. I have put my office back together again after acquiring some new, more functional furniture to sort of try and get some of it under control. I have too much stuff. I will readily admit this. I'm not going to say that I don't have too much stuff, but at the same time, what are you going to do? I have the space for it, so why not? But yeah, apart from that, I didn't really have a huge amount else, except had a bit of an epiphany in June. Not really an epiphany, I don't know. So I'm in the process of working out what work looks like for me moving forward. My partner Derek turns 60 in January. I'm sure he'd love me telling everybody that. But he turns 60 in January, and so we're looking at, whether he goes part-time so that we can do some more things that we want to do, and, just have some more time to enjoy life. We're in the financial situation where we can do that, which is lovely. I don't discount the privilege of that. It's just, we've worked hard for it, but at the same time, it's also not a privilege that a lot of people get. So we're looking at what that looks like. And interestingly, what that means is that we move from being people where what we do for a living is a large part of who we are and, how we are in the world and those sorts of things. And we move into, well, what do I look like when I stop working? And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to fully stop working anytime soon. I'm only just turning 54 this month, and I have to keep myself busy doing all sorts of things. So, I'll do things like this. I'll do a range of other things that I do for free. And I will still keep some client work going because I largely enjoy what I do. It's a very interesting position to be in, like to, be able to go into rooms and capture things for people and not really have any skin in the game. It's interesting. Let's put it that way. So I'll keep doing client work. I'll keep doing different bits and pieces, but then I'll also want to be creating things for me. So, last year I did the Draw It Simple book. Last year I did the Oracle cards. This year I got them. I have the Oracle cards as well. And so I'm thinking, well, what other things do I want to make? What else do I want to bring into the world? What does that look like? And one of the things that I did years ago, and I sort of put it by the wayside, other things come up, was I did like a bookbinding course. And I don't want to necessarily do bookbinding, but I also did like a letterpress course where I made like covers for little journals and little bits and pieces. And I do all this journal work and everything else. And so I'm like, maybe I want to make like little notebooks and journals and little books like that, because I have a few different ideas for books that I don't necessarily want to have to go and get 500 copies printed, and they're not the sort of thing that I want to do print on demand either. So yeah, I bought myself a guillotine. It's not a massive guillotine, but it's significant to be able to sort of like, properly trim and cut up notebooks. So I'm thinking like A5 and A6, not really thick. So think of like field notes type notebooks, or those sorts of things, where you've got like 48 pages in it or something like that. Yeah, it's that sort of stuff that I'm looking at doing. And I have acquired, but it has not yet turned up, a larger sort of machine to round the corners, because I've got little ones, but to round the corners off and those sort of bits and pieces. So yeah, that's the new fun thing that I'm going to start doing, largely for markets, but I will put them on my website to sell as well, like I have with my book and my oracle cards. I do plan on getting more stuff up there, so the more that I sort of move away from client work, the more I'll probably move into this fun sort of product space. I sell them, I currently sell the stuff that I do at markets down here in Tassie. I'll probably start doing some more if I'm not doing as much work during the week. All of that sort of stuff. But yeah, this is a shift that I'm looking at. This could be the thing that I do, because, largely, if we're not going anywhere or we don't have anything planned, then I can sit down and make a whole heap of stuff. And then, it's largely just then selling them at markets or shipping, but I don't have to, it's a little bit of a flexible thing. Plus, I don't have clients, and look, as much as I love some of the clients that I work with, and I really, enjoy doing the work that I do with them, at the same time, not having clients is something I'm looking forward to at some point in time. So I decided that my little phrase for this month is, I'm always more reflective in July. Aging will do that to you. So yeah, it's one of those things. I've said it a number of times. It's generally my very reflective month, which I'm a little bit concerned about, because I've been a little bit reflective because, I haven't had a lot of work, and I'm thinking, what does that look like moving forward? And so I've been reflecting a lot anyway. So I really don't want to spend too much more time in my own head. That being the case, I am going to have to give myself some jobs to do so that I don't spend too much time in my own head, because look, there's been a lot going on. It's been a lot. And yeah, it's not productive for me to spend too much time without having something to really occupy my brain. Yeah, so I'm starting to design a couple of, like my first couple of little journals, notebooks, notepads, whatever we want to be calling them. I'm designing the first couple of those now, and hopefully that will just give me something to really sink my brain into, so it doesn't have too much time to cause me grief, which is what my brain is a little bit want to do, if it's left to its own devices, shall we say. So that's sort of like my big news. It's a really interesting thing of, it's not the first time I've changed my career or anything else. And I'm not changing anything. I see it as expanding the sort of work that I do into a different sort of space. And largely it's going back to something that I had planned on doing and that I did a little bit like years ago, and just sort of bringing it back into what I'm doing now and sort of marrying those two things together. But it's always interesting when you shift who you are and how you are in the world and what you give the world and how you function within it. Watch this space, because I think there's going to be a bit more of that as we go through, as I go through this process anyway. So look, here is my bullet journal for July. There's not a hell of a lot to it. It was nice and quick and easy to do, which I think I really needed. I hope that you have a lovely July, or you are having a lovely July, and I will desperately try to get my August video up before the end of July. I don't have a lot on, so hopefully that won't be a problem. Thanks for being here. Bye.